Familia, a term that lately has become popular in the motor world, but out of all the niches, the word family doesn't have as much of a meaning as it does in drag racing. I've been fortunate enough to experience many motorsports events up close, from Formula 1, Formula E, to the World Rally Championship and the World Endurance Championship, even NASCAR, but I felt the most welcome at the Nitro Nationals. There is something about drag racing that creates a beautiful community. Maybe it's the simplicity of racing in a straight line, or the science behind the creation of the most ludicrous of machines. This mix of insanity and fun attract a very specific kind of person, the kind that hasn't really grown up at all. For 3 days, these people take their inner child out for a ride. Children that with their innocence and imagination are amazed by big, noisy, and funny looking cars, and to witness other kids live the dreams they dreamed many nights ago. All of these like-minded people come together to create the most important thing a child needs: a family.
Hello, my name is Pepe Parabeles and we're at the Toronto Motorsports Park, and these are the Nitro Nationals.
Now, let's take a look at a few families that make up the Nitro Nationals.
Tell us a little bit about this team. How long has it been a team?
Sure. My name is Todd Payton. This is the Payton Racing family team. My dad and actually my parents started it back in 1965, and we just lost my father, unfortunately, at the end of last year, but we're continuing on the legacy. We have our two top fuel dragsters here, 11,000 horsepower, 300-mile-an-hour hot rods, and we hope to put on a good show this weekend.
That's a great story. So tell us more about your father. So he started this.
Oh yeah, we can blame him for all of this. So he was a pilot with a company called Eastern Provincial Airways, eventually became a pilot with Air Canada, and but on the side he always had speed, and instead of using wings for flight, he used them for downforce. So he began racing out in Western Canada in the 60s. We moved east, and then we settled actually not too far from here in Brantford, Ontario, and that's where we based the operation out of Paris.
So Top Fuel, you're mentioning Top Fuel. I know what Top Fuel is, but if you want to tell us a little bit about what is specific about Top Fuel from everything else in drag racing.
I mean, it is designed for nothing but acceleration. We have the engine in the trunk, we have all the weight transfer in the back, the cars are high gear only, there's no shifting, it just slips the clutch, so we leave in high gear and the thing just slips for about 2.5 seconds. It has more G-forces than anything that's lifted anybody off into space, and then at half track it has even more than that. So we launch at about 4 Gs, and then we have about 5.5 G-forces at half track when it locks up the clutch. So it's pretty cool to be driving this thing at 260 miles an hour out there at 600 feet, and it decides it's going to pick up the front end again and do a wheelie.
I want to talk about TMP and the Nitro Nationals. Is this an event you're always expecting to come to? Right? How important is this for you and your team and your family?
We base our racing season off the Canadian Nitro Nationals. I mean, this is the pinnacle for us because it's our hometown race. Like I said, based in Brantford, only 45 minutes away. This is where I got my license. This is where my dad got his license in alcohol. Funny Car has always had a special place for us. And to bring both cars out here, like I said, in memory of him this year, and just to be out here with all of our friends and family, it's going to be a good time. But yeah, this is a big race for us.
After the race, how much of the car has to be changed, like of the engine?
So we're going to make 2 runs tonight with both cars, and so in between, in about an hour and a half, maybe less than that, we'll replace the clutch. We'll we'll completely rebuild the motor, so we'll take it down to a bare crankshaft, and then put new pistons, rods, and cylinder heads on it in an hour and a half and get it back on the starting line.
If it's too much to ask you, if you can give us a little tour of whatever you can show us.
Sure, yeah. Well, since the cars aren't fully assembled yet, obviously this injector and supercharger assembly, that'll be on top of the motor, but obviously the front end of the car, we have our 14-gallon fuel tank up here, so like I said, that's enough to go 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
So we come back here, obviously we've got an access panel here because we have some controls. There's an onboard data acquisition system here, so we monitor about 90 functions on this car because we're only under power for about 4 seconds, so we want to get as much critical data as we can. So we measure everything from throttle position to exhaust gas temperatures to oil pressure and fuel pressure. And then from there we've got a couple other controls that help us run the clutch system. Like I said, it's a clutch that slowly engages as we go down track. Then we're here at the fuel pump, and this is kind of the brains of the whole operation. So this thing is actually rated at 112 gallons per minute. So it's the equivalent of like 8 shower heads going off on this thing when I hit the gas.
Like my gas tank is like...
Oh yeah, exactly. Just you could watch the gas level go down. So And then we've got two 44 amp magnetos here to light that mixture, and that's basically enough to weld just about anything you want. So when we run two of them to help ignite the spark, we've got, obviously, this engine is based off the old Chrysler Hemi from the 60s, but it bears very little resemblance to that modern day.
The only thing left is just the shape.
Yeah, exactly, and that started life as a billet chunk of aluminum. They start out with like a huge piece of aluminum, and we end up with this little bit left. And it's very expensive by the time we get to that.
The block itself.
Yes.
How much does it last? Does the block last?
Probably you get about 25 runs out of them before they start to get a little tired. They'll start to get a little...
Yeah, exactly.
So the crankshaft's in there. The crankshafts only last about 6 runs. So like I said, at 4 seconds a run, we're only getting about 24 seconds out of a crank.
What is about drag racing that is keeping you in the sport?
It's the pure adrenaline. You cannot describe to somebody what it's like when this thing launches. My dad tried to describe it to me when I was first licensing, and he said it's going to be like somebody hits you in the head with a 2x4, and then 4 seconds later somebody hits you in the back of the head with the same thing. But there's just, you know, when you initially pull away from a stoplight or pull out of the pits or whatever, and you have that initial acceleration in low gear, that's what this thing has. But it has it sustained all the way to the finish line. It just does not stop pulling, and that's the deep desire in drag racing. And the fact is, like, there's no second chances. I can't come back and say, you know what, I can do that corner better next time. No, it's put up or shut up. 2 of us are going to the starting line. Only 1 of us is going to come back and win.
And so first of all, what's your name?
Aaron Reed.
Aaron, nice to meet you. Which car are we having in here?
So this is a 1933 Willys. That's what the body is based off of.
Yeah.
It's a fiberglass body that was made in the 1970s, but it's based off of a 1933 Willys.
So as a family, for how long have you been doing this team racing stuff?
25 years at this point. So my dad raced in the 1970s before I was around. And
Even a plan.
In 1998, I was 10 years old, and we got into junior drag racing, like the little kids.
Yeah, the little guy,
And it kind of just has grown from there. You know, it's he's had multiple different cars over the years. I've had a couple different cars over the years, and in 2008 or 9, we said, hey, let's sell what we have and put our money together and build something, you know, step it up a notch.
For how long, as a family, have you been into the drag race, drag racing?
Our whole lives. I used to come here when I was younger with my dad. We used to come for all the major events. We would come spectate. A couple years ago, before COVID, we had a car that we would race, and it was just our little street car. But last year, we said, let's step up our game and let's have some more fun.
You know what I've been noticing interviewing guys like you is that it's a very family sport.
Yeah, definitely. Like, even everyone, we race with Can-Am here. Yeah. Everyone's a big family. It's our second event out, and like our last event, we broke down. We had guys running around looking for parts for us. We were able to keep going for the next race.
I'm liking that a lot, because I mean, I know about all the racing and all the kind of category of racing stuff, but this one, in my opinion, is like very cozy, very friendly, very welcoming. What do you need to get it ready to take it on the track?
Make sure the car's warmed up before, so you're not going down the track cold. Make sure the header bolts are tight. Make sure all your fluids are good. Make sure you're sealed up, tire pressure. Other than that, turn the water pump on, turn the key. Just put my jacket and my helmet on, and don't look back.
So next time you feel like having some quality time with your loved ones, enjoying the fresh air and the green canvas, combined with explosions and fire and insane noise, and other families whose veins are filled with gasoline, take a walk at the park at the Toronto Motorsport.